Hello and welcome to Behind the Bearcat. This is the podcast where the Northwest Missouri State University Career Services Office chats with Northwest faculty, staff, students, alumni, and friends to hear about their career journeys, how they got to where they are, and how they became Bearcats. I'm Career Services Assistant Director Travis Klein.
And I'm Hannah Christian, Director of Career Services here at Northwest. And today's guest on our show, drumroll, is...
Hi, I'm Gursheen. I'm a career ambassador and I'm a biopsychology major.
Welcome.
Gursheen. So nice to have you on our show. So, you forgot to mention you're a freshman.
I'm also a freshman, yes, that is true.
So always one of the very first things that we're interested in is how did you come to Northwest? How did you discover Northwest and what made you decide to come here?
Okay, a lot of people have asked me this question, like being an international student, why Northwest? So I actually wanted to be a psychology major, but being a STEM major as an international student is advantageous to us. So I knew I wanted to do something with biology and psychology. So I Googled something like biopsychology majors in US, and a list showed up. And I looked through it, and some of them were like private colleges and everything. And I discovered Northwest through that. So that's how I ended up here.
I'm sorry, chewing on taffy.
So what's the career goal with biopsychology? Because I would think there's a couple different paths you can go. So what's the hope for the job when you graduate?
I'm looking at grad schools for clinical psychology or maybe neuroscience, something like that. The end goal for me is to be a therapist, or either be a professor or a therapist or both. Mm-hmm. So that's the end goal. That's
I love that. Yeah, you don't have to pick either. You can be all of the above, right?
Or both.
So have you always kind of had an interest in psychology?
Yes. So like my family background is very humanities inclined. My my maternal grandfather was a sociology professor, and my maternal grandmother was a teacher. So I knew I wanted to teach. I just did not know what subject, and I liked psychology from the beginning.
So once you got to, I'm not sure exactly where you're from originally because you haven't told me on the podcast, right? But once you got to Maryville, kind of what were some of your first impressions?
The first day we got here, it was empty because nobody was here. It was just us international students and some orientation leaders and Erica from international office. And so I was excited. I was like, oh, I reached here. Finally, I reached my destination and everything. And it was, I mean, I like the greenery because I'm from like a city. I'm from New Delhi. So it's a big city. So you don't see a lot of trees or, fresh air, basically. You don't see a lot of that. So I got here and I was like, wow, there's so many trees and like so much greenery around. So the first few days I hung out outside the Ron Houston building because it's like greenery and there's like places to sit. So I used to sit there and listen to music. That's what I did the first few days.
Enjoying nature.
Yes.
So tell us about your classes. Are they harder than you expected them to be? The same? Easier?
No, I did not expect. They are pretty easy. Like I expected like harder classes since it's natural science major. I'm not gonna say it's very easy. I do have to study and work hard towards them, but it's easier than what I expected. And that's what I really like. Like you don't only have to focus on academics, you can do a lot of things along with it.
So what are some of the things outside of academics that you do?
I work.
Yeah. So talk to us about that. So being a career ambassador as a freshman, like that's typically that's been really unusual. And it seems like this year we hired several freshmen because we had really excellent applications. So what
Mhm.
made you want to apply for that position when you found it? Or was it just another one to apply for and it happened? Or was it?
No, so when uh, before applying to career services, I had come into the office and I had like seen the environment of the
Mhm,
office and how people like how they helped me out, and I really like the concept of a career services because
mhm,
I haven't seen a concept like that because like back in my high school there was just one counselor who just like googled everything and be like, this is the options for your major or what do you want to do. So it's like, okay. So I really like the concept here of career services, and when the job opened up I looked at the description and I was really intrigued, and I'm kind, I don't want to say this in a negative way, but I'm kind of an A type personality. I like to tell what to like to tell people what to do.
mhm.
So career service, it's not like you're telling people what to do, but you're helping them, and like maybe if you do this way, that would be beneficial.
Mhm.
So I really like that.
So, um, what are some of the things maybe that you've learned already in this semester, maybe that you think are important that people should know about
And
resumes or about jobs or anything?
a lot of people think like um every you should have like everything on the resume, like everything you've done, and n- like even if you've babysat for like three different families, and like everything should be on your resume, which is now how it usually works. Like what is your best possible job you've held, like the best job you've held, the best position you've had, and what relates to the job description is what should go on the resume. And I had no clue about cover letters before applying to career services. I had googled how to write a cover letter, and I wrote something in like 15 minutes. It's like, okay, I'll do this. And but being with career services has helped me a lot learn about cover letters, how it should like come from come from a place where like you're showing that you really want the job, like you
Mhm.
are fit for it, and how you really want it. So those are two things that I've learned.
I'm inclined to go back and just be like, what did Gursheen write in her cover letter? Now that you tell me you spent 15 minutes writing it.
I remember it was a good one because really all the students that we hired had pretty strong cover letters because that's traditionally an area where a lot of students don't know what they are and you get a wide range of stuff. And I remember them all being pretty good. So I'm
Mhm.
sure whatever you Googled worked. So good job with finding the right information. So that's good.
And while we're talking about cover letters on this podcast, since we don't talk about that often,
Mhm.
I mean, I have people who are hiring full-time employees, I have staff members here who ask me, why don't students write cover letters?
Mhm.
Like they don't
Mhm.
understand why someone wouldn't apply with a resume and a cover letter. And
Cover
so I
letter.
have to tell them, I mean, does it say on your application that you need to include a cover letter? Like
Mhm.
people are just really, really intimidated by that. But if I had to give someone a piece of advice, it would be write a cover letter in addition to your resume, because even if the application material doesn't call for a cover letter, often that's what screens out candidates, like you said, Gershine.
Mhm.
Candidates who really are interested in the position will take the extra time to write that cover letter to give, some of their voice to the fact that they're really interested in the position. That can make candidates stand out. It always makes them, if you write a good cover letter, you'll stand out to me for sure.
Mhm.
So
Yes. Usually students are really confused between resumes and cover letters. Like, do they go together? Are they
Mhm.
separate documents? What is it? So the usually people are not like taught about this. Like they're
Mhm.
two separate documents, and you should submit both, like to be hired. So I think that could be an issue.
Yeah, definitely a good idea to do them for sure. So, other than cover letters, is there anything that has kind of surprised you about the job, maybe that you didn't expect, or?
tours. Oh my God.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. One day on one Tuesday, I gave like 9 tours
Hmm.
for just the month of March. I was like, wow. And the thing is, I'm comfortable talking to people, like, but it feels like a one-way conversation. And
Hmm.
when you're not getting a reply back, you're just like standing there awkwardly, and they're not saying anything. You're not saying. Usually they're distracted. They're asking, "Where's the bathroom? I want to go." Okay.
A shout out to Gursheen also on the podcast here. I think it was last week when you were giving an overview of the office, and a parent asked, "So where do most grads get jobs around here?" And I was walking through the office and I was like, "Oh, I'm very interested to see how she's going to handle this." And because I mean, where do most grads, right? We have thousands of graduates,
Yeah.
so like that's a very big question. And Gershine was just like, "Oh, well, they get jobs here and here and here." And I was like, "You go." She just handled
Like,
that, but turns out she just likes to tell people what to do. So there was no issues.
yeah.
When you take your fundamentals of oral comp class, your speech class, you're going to be ready to go because you've done
Yeah.
every tour
Taking
is a
that next
speech.
semester,
There
and
you go.
then
You
like,
will have it handled. Yes. So those of you that don't know, every campus tour that comes through the Northwest campus Monday through Friday during business hours comes into our office, and our career ambassadors. We have different stations, but one of the stations, you basically give an overview of the office to the tours. So, and when we have really busy tour days, which we have a lot of because we do a lot of campus tours on this campus, then our CAs do a lot of them. So yes, they get very good very quickly at talking about the office and kind of public speaking. And it's definitely a professional skill that our students acquire very quickly. And Gursheen is very good at it. So
Maybe we should ask for people who are listening to the show, what do you talk about in one of those overviews?
mhm. I mean, we usually talk about how the office is set up, what services we offer, what events we have, talk a little about career closet, and we tell them about like our student success rate and how students go to grad schools and get jobs at different places. So that's a whole overview. And if they have any other questions, we answer those and things like that. Usually they don't have any questions. So just ask, what major are you going in? And most of them are undecided. It's like, okay, you'll figure it out.
mhm. Yeah, usually they don't have questions, or they have a series of very specific, very very hard to answer questions sometimes.
Questions.
So yes.
Yeah, I'm like, I do not know, but I'll tell you something.
Right. So you
What?
mentioned,
Go
sorry.
ahead, Travis.
I
Go
was just
ahead.
gonna say, you mentioned graduate school, so that's something that you want to do. Is there any? Did Career Day? We had several graduate schools come. Did you get a
Yes,
chance
I
to walk around and
did.
talk to them?
Yeah, I did talk to UMKC, but turns out they don't take international students.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Well, at least you
But
know that now, and you're not pursuing them 3 years from now when you're getting ready to graduate. So,
yes, but I did talk to quite a few uh grad schools, and I think I've started building my application for grad schools, and that is my main goal after I graduate, getting into grad school. Because I don't have much time after I graduate. I'll have like 6 months before I can do anything, or it will send me back.
mhm.
Do you know what type of program? I know you talked about being a counselor or being a maybe psychologist, maybe psychology
Mhm.
professor. Do you know what kind of program you're looking for?
I'm looking for a clinical psych program, master's plus PhD, like whatever is like from like an accredited university from by American Psychology Association. And turns out they're hard to find because most of them are like pretty costly.
Mhm.
And so I'm looking through it, trying to figure out where I want to go. And one thing about me is I want to study like at a college or at a university where I like the environment, because Northwest is pretty cold and I do not do cold. I am I cannot do cold. So looking for schools
Something
where
further south.
something for the
No
south, yeah, something
University of
where
Alaska for
cold.
you, huh?
Something like that. Yes.
We hear that a lot from
We do.
international students, especially if they're more equatorially located, that it's a little cold here for them.
Even in India, I don't do cold.
What is a piece of advice? I mean, you're nearing the end of your second semester here. What is a piece of advice you would share with an incoming international student, maybe for the fall?
I would suggest that most of the international students are like very confused. Like, should I focus on my studies? Should I focus more on making friends, going out? I would suggest like you can study. You have time to study because Northwest is like they offer such a range of courses that you don't have to put a lot of your time in it. You can like study for 2 hours a day and you can be done with all your assignments. I would suggest them to go out to events, if because all incoming freshmen have to stay on campus. They have like resident halls have events, so like go out, meet people, connect, network. That's how you make friends, because a lot of people, like my friends, tell me, you know everybody on campus. It's like, that's not true. I just talk to people. I just like say hi in passing existence. So I mean, networking is very important, like talking to everybody, and that's how you get known. That's how you get references in future. Talk to your professors, even if it's not about studying, or like if you have different doubts, just go talk to them. It helps build connections.
I'd say that's good advice for all students, not just international students, but all incoming students, and maybe even ones that have been here for a while, and maybe staff members who've been here for a really long time. Yeah. So good advice all around.
What's your favorite class this semester, or maybe last semester? What has been the favorite class thus far since you've been here?
Favorite class, I would uh I would say chemistry, because I genuinely like chemistry. So I took a class of general chemistry 1 last semester. I'm taking general chemistry 2 this semester, and I pretty like it. Like it's not very it is content heavy, but it's not very assignment heavy, and you just have to understand stuff in class. So it's nice.
I like Gen Chem too, just FYI.
Me
Learned about
too.
pH, measuring pH, specific heat. I know. Yeah, I like that. Any other questions, Travis?
No, I mean, I think that covers. Usually we always ask for CAs to give advice, and I think you've given some really excellent advice so far. So no, I mean,
Thank you.
I think the fact that you're just in your second semester as a freshman, like I would not know that for sure. You definitely are very mature for your age and very advanced for your age. So I think that's really awesome. I definitely think, especially as you move forward, like tutoring and things like that. You mentioned liking chemistry class. Like most students don't like chemistry, so maybe think about perhaps being one of those tutors in the future. Not that we want to give up our hours for somebody else, but that'd definitely be a way build that resume for you as you look at grad school and things like that too.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I don't think I think you covered everything I wanted to ask about for sure.
All right. Well, thank you for being our guest on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, that will do it for another episode of Behind the Bearcat, and we'll talk to you next time. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed that episode. If you did, be sure to give us a thumbs up below. That helps out. Also, if you've not done so yet, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new episode. Also, we'd love to connect with you on social media. You can find Behind the Bearcat on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Plus, the audio podcast comes out on Fridays on all the major podcast platforms. Thanks again for watching Behind the Bearcat, and as always, we'll talk to you next time.